got some major news in Major League Baseball just maybe 90 minutes before I started recording the podcast this week. Tarik Skubal, the best pitcher on planet Earth, Detroit Tigers ace, is going to be out for at least the next 2.5 months. He will be undergoing surgery to remove loose bodies from his elbow. The Tigers announced that early this week, and that is a significant blow to the Detroit Tigers for a couple of different reasons. Number one, Tarik Skubal is the best pitcher in the world, back-to-back AL Cy Young Award winner. Tarik Skubal is also the guy that you want on the mound every fifth day and in the postseason that can go out there, not only blow 100 miles an hour past you, nasty changeup. He's going to go out there, try to give you 7, 8, 9 innings if he can. Like the most dominant pitcher in baseball when he's on. Like that guy is overpowering. The stuff is nasty. And to not have him in your rotation is so big. That's very significant. So for those of you out there that are wondering what are loose bodies? So loose bodies are little fragments. So it could be bone, it could be tissue, it could be cartilage. And if you're looking and watching on YouTube, I'm showing you. If you're listening, you got to just use your imagination. If this is my elbow and right here where my UCL and all that good stuff is, there could be bone fragments, there could be little pieces of cartilage, little pieces of tissue just floating around in my elbow. And so what they do is they go in, they clean all that stuff out, and then they stitch you back up. And it usually takes between 2.5, 3 months to come back for pitchers that usually get that. For those of you who are like, I've heard that before, Edwin Diaz had that. Yes, he did. A couple of weeks ago, Dodgers shut him down. He underwent surgery to remove loose bodies from his elbow because he had been having some struggles, not bouncing back after appearances. The velocity was down, and so he had to get that cleaned out. He will also be down for 2 months. For Tarik Skubal, this is significant for him because not only is he the best pitcher in the world, and you want to be out there, the Tigers are the team to beat in the American League Central, or at least thought to be the team to beat them in Cleveland. And Tarik Skubal is a free agent at the end of this season, and by many in the game projected to be the highest paid starting pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball once he gets his new contract, whether that's in Detroit or somewhere else. And so to not have that guy pitching until at least August is a big deal, right? Like, let's say the Tigers perform like we thought they were going to perform, not having your best starter, and not only their best starter, the best starter in Major League Baseball, that can hurt. What it also does is, let's say the Tigers fell out of it. For whatever reason, things didn't go well, and they turned into sellers at the trade deadline. Your biggest trade asset, maybe the biggest trade asset in all of Major League Baseball, is now not going to be available. And so this is a really big deal for so many different reasons. It's layered. Skubal talking to reporters on Monday saying that this has been something that has been bugging him, not just in his last start where he had trainers come to the mound. He got scratched from his start that he was supposed to make on Monday. But he said it was something that he had been dealing with for a little bit, and so that he was actually glad he found out why and what was going on with him. But this is a big blow, man. It's one of those things that happens where the hindsight of it, where the Tigers signed Framber Valdez this winter. Let's say they don't do that, and now all of the Tigers' hopes and dreams to try to be back in the postseason and make a deep run are on the shoulders of Tarik Skubal and Tarik Skubal only in that rotation. Now you're in a much different situation today than you otherwise would be. But with them going out and getting Framber Valdez, you have Framber, who has tons of postseason experience. You still have other guys in that rotation, Jack Flaherty, Casey Mize, etc. But when you don't have the best pitcher in the world, when you've gotten used to having him, it is going to be a change, right? Like, Framber Valdez is a very good starting pitcher. Casey Mize is a good starting pitcher. Jack Flaherty is what. Those guys aren't Tarik Skubal. And so the Tigers are going to have to figure out a way to plug that hole, a significant hole, but they're going to have to plug that hole as we go here in what has now become a very interesting AL Central as well. You know, the Cleveland Guardians right there. The Chicago White Sox have played really good baseball. Nobody expected them to play this well going into the month of May, and they're within earshot of the top of the AL Central. And so for all of baseball, this is something we've talked about a lot here on the Relay with Russ Dorsey in the first couple of weeks of the podcast. Starting pitching depth is an important part of getting through a season. And you have executives around Major League Baseball right now that are saying, how the blank do I keep my starting pitchers healthy? And I think there's a lot of shrugs because teams try everything, guys. I mean everything. I've talked to people ad nauseum about how to keep pitchers healthy. And you really get a big shrug when you ask that question because teams try reducing guys' workload, adding to guys' workload, where it's like, okay, I want you to pitch more because maybe the thought was if you pitch more than we've seen guys pitch, maybe guys will get used to it. Guys still get hurt. Controlling pitch counts, guys still get hurt. Managing innings, guys still get hurt, right? Like I think with something with the Tigers, they have been very judicious in how they manage Tarik Skubal's pitch count from start to start in the last couple of years since he came back from injury a couple of years ago. And still, he's been able to stay healthy. But here we are with a guy who's down for now 2 months. And the top 3 finishers from this AL Cy Young Award ballot are now all on the IL. That's Tarik Skubal, Garrett Crochet, Hunter Brown, all down with injury, all on the IL. And the list goes on and on and on with the guys that have gone down so far this year. Skubal, Brown, Crochet. When you're thinking about Cade Horton for the Chicago Cubs, Spencer Schwellenbach, Brandon Woodruff just went on the IL for the Brewers last week. Ryan Pepio out for the season for the Tampa Bay Rays. Hunter Green has been down in the first half for the Cincinnati Reds, and the list can go even longer if we kept going. We talked about Edwin Diaz with him having the surgery to remove loose bodies from his elbow, and so this is going to be the theme of the 2026 season, and it's unfortunate because you don't want this to be the theme of guys are getting hurt, but teams, if you want to win the World Series, you're going to have to be able to find depth in your pitching wherever you can find it, whether that's internally, whether that's externally. Teams are already taking stock. And remember, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. One of the first important date on baseball's schedule or calendar is Memorial Day, where teams are taking stock of what they are, what they aren't, things that they potentially need to add at the trade deadline. So that's something we're going to have to watch very closely as we go here, because there are a lot of teams that are contending, not contending right now, not playing their best baseball, that are having some of these problems. And I think we could get to the trade deadline where a lot of teams are looking like, well, I need pitching. Well, the teams who are out of it also need pitching. And so you're going to have maybe limited options on who you can potentially acquire. Or maybe some of the names that we normally think about at the deadline aren't going to be the names that are getting moved. And so when you're talking about your minor league depth and getting some of these prospects involved, I think that's going to be a big part of this conversation too, because those guys that are pitching in Double and AAA, because of the way this season has gone, maybe those guys get an opportunity to pitch in the big leagues because those teams need those guys to go out there and perform. But huge news with Tarik Skubal going down for a couple of months and needing elbow surgery to remove loose bodies. That is going to be a huge deal, and we will see how the Detroit Tigers are able to manage that until he returns. Hey guys, thanks for watching this episode of The Relay with Russ Dorsey. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you have a question for me, be sure to drop it in the comments below, and we'll catch you again here next time.